Did you know that 60 years ago, Dubai was a fishing village with dirt roads and 13 registered cars? Today, it has the tallest building on the planet, police cars worth more than most people's houses, and a skyline that didn't exist 35 years ago. Most people think they know Dubai, but trust me, you don't know the half of it. These are 10 facts that prove Dubai is the most extreme, contradictory city on Earth. Fact number 10. The richest city in the Middle East has no army. Dubai has the tallest building on Earth, a police force, driving Bugattis, islands you can see from space. It spent 50 years and hundreds of billions of dollars turning itself into the most spectacular city on the planet, but it forgot one thing: it has no army. Zero, not one tank, not one fighter jet, not one soldier under its own command, nothing. Dubai's survival depends entirely on Abu Dhabi, UAE's federal armed forces. The generals, the fighter jets, the missile defense systems are all headquartered in Abu Dhabi, commanded by Abu Dhabi's ruler and paid for with Abu Dhabi's oil money. Dubai once had its own defense force. It dissolved it in the late 90s and handed everything over. The supreme commander of the entire UAE military is always the ruler of Abu Dhabi, every time. No exceptions. For decades, that did not matter. Who is going to attack a shopping mall? Then, on February 28th, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a massive military strike on Iran, right across the water. And Iran fired back at everything in the Gulf. Drones slammed into the area around Dubai International Airport. Missiles hit the Palm Jumeirah. The Burj Al Arab took damage. Airspace collapsed. Flights were grounded across the entire region. And Dubai, a city of nearly 10 million people, 88% of them foreigners, with no military, no defense force, and no ability to protect itself, was sitting in the middle of a war zone with nothing but someone else's army between it and the next incoming missile. The city that built everything forgot to build the one thing you cannot put on a postcard, the one thing that actually matters when the sky starts falling, and that is perhaps the most Dubai thing of all. Number 9 is just as unbelievable, but for completely different reasons. Fact number 9, the city that drinks the ocean. Turn on a tap in Dubai, and the water that comes out was seawater a few hours ago. Dubai has almost no natural fresh water, no rivers, no lakes, barely any rain. The entire city runs on desalinated ocean water. Giant industrial plants along the coast boil or filter the Persian Gulf and turn it into something drinkable. One facility alone, the Jebel Ali plant, is the largest desalination operation in the world, producing hundreds of millions of gallons every single day. Without those plants, Dubai ceases to exist. Not slowly, immediately. The drinking water stops. The fountains stop. The swimming pools stop. The hotels stop. The gardens stop. The artificial lakes, all of it gone. Every drop of fresh water in Dubai is manufactured. And the process pumps enormous volumes of toxic, hyper-salty brine straight back into the Gulf, raising salinity levels in the surrounding sea. Dubai does not just use the ocean. It drinks it, spits the leftovers back, and does it again tomorrow. And here is the part that makes it even more surreal. Dubai's residents consume roughly twice as much water per person as Americans do. Hundreds of liters per person per day in one of the driest places on the planet, all of it pulled from the sea. Number 8 might explain everything. Fact 8, an island you can see from space. In the early 2000s, Dubai decided the coastline was not big enough, so it built more of it. Palm Jumeirah is an artificial island shaped like a palm tree stretching out into the Persian Gulf. Over 10 million dump truckloads of sand were used to form it. That is enough rock and sand to build a 2-meter wide wall that circles the entire Earth 3 times. It is now home to some of the most expensive villas in the world, dozens of luxury hotels, hundreds of restaurants, and a water park. And it is visible from space. Before Palm Jumeirah, Dubai's coastline was a straight line of sand. Now it is a man-made landmark that can be identified from orbit. They literally reshaped the planet, not for infrastructure, not for survival, but for real estate. Palm Jumeirah was not even the most ambitious project. They also started building the World Islands, an archipelago shaped like a map of the planet, drawn onto the surface of the sea. Some of those islands still sit empty, half-finished monuments to ambition that outpace demand. Dubai does not build to fill a need, it builds to prove a point. And number 7, this one sounds made up. It is not. Fact number 7. The Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. It stands over 800 meters high with more than 160 floors, and it holds multiple world records. People on the upper floors have to wait roughly 2 extra minutes for the sun to set, compared to those at ground level. During Ramadan, that means residents on higher floors break their fast later than people at the bottom of the same building. Time literally moves differently depending on which floor you live on, but here is the part most people do not know. It was not supposed to be called the Burj Khalifa. During construction, it was called Burj Dubai. Then, the 2008 financial crisis hit and Dubai nearly collapsed. Abu Dhabi, the neighboring emirate, stepped in with a bailout reportedly worth around $25 billion. The name was quietly changed to honor Sheikh Khalifa, the president of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of Abu Dhabi. The tallest building on Earth was renamed as a thank you for keeping Dubai from going bankrupt. The world's most famous skyscraper is, in a way, a receipt for the biggest bailout in the region as history, and its design was inspired by a desert flower called a spider lily. 3 petals form the base, and then they spiral upward into the sky. The tallest structure ever built by humans, named after a debt shaped like a flower. We're not even halfway yet. If the fact that the world's tallest building was renamed to settle a debt was not enough to earn a subscribe, I do not know what will. We're only halfway through, and the next 5 facts go somewhere much darker. Hidden labor camps, impossible laws, and a secret the entire city was built on. Hit subscribe so you do not miss what's coming. We've seen the skyline. Now let's go behind it. Fact number 6. The city built by people who can't stay. Over 85% of the people living in Dubai are not from Dubai. They are expatriates, foreign workers, people who came from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Philippines, and dozens of other countries to build the city, run the restaurants, clean the hotels, and drive the taxis. And almost none of them will ever become citizens. The UAE citizenship laws are among the most restrictive in the world. You can live in Dubai for 30 years, raise your children there, build a career, pay rent, and contribute to the economy every single day, and you will almost certainly remain a foreigner. If you lose your job, you lose your visa. If you lose your visa, you leave. There is no safety net, no path to permanent belonging. The city runs on the labor of millions of people who are never truly allowed to call it home. Walk through a Dubai mall, and you will hear Arabic, English, Hindi, Tagalog, Urdu, and a dozen more languages in the space of 5 minutes. It is one of the most cosmopolitan cities on the planet, but underneath that diversity is a system designed to keep most of its people temporary. Still with me? Good, because these next 5 do not even sound real. Fact number 5, the labor camps behind the skyline. Behind the glass towers and infinity pools, there are labor camps on the outskirts of Dubai that most tourists will never see. Tens of thousands of migrant construction workers live in shared dormitories, sometimes 10 or more men to a single room. Many had their passports confiscated by employers when they arrived. They work long hours in heat that regularly exceeds 50 degrees Celsius, building the very structures that make Dubai famous. Some report going months without being paid. Some were recruited with promises of high wages, only to find completely different working conditions on arrival. The system that governs much of this is called the kafala, the sponsorship system. Under kafala, a worker's legal status is tied to their employer. Leaving your job without permission can result in being reported for absconding, which can lead to detention and deportation. It is a framework that human rights organizations have compared to modern forms of forced labor. International pressure has led to reforms, but enforcement gaps remain. The skyline that dazzles the world was, in significant part, built by people who had very little power to leave. The next time you see a photo of the Burj Khalifa lit up at night, remember, somebody built every floor of that tower. And the story of how they were treated is not the one Dubai puts in the brochure. Fact 4 is insane. Fact number 4, the Supercar police force. Dubai's police don't just patrol in squad cars. They patrol in Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, and Bugattis. The Dubai police fleet includes some of the most expensive vehicles ever put into law enforcement service. A Bugatti Veyron, worth around $1.5 million, a Lamborghini Aventador, a Ferrari FF, an Aston Martin 177, they hold a world record for the fastest police car in active service. These are not display models sitting in a showroom, they are actual patrol vehicles parked in tourist areas and driven through the city. The official reason is to project an image of luxury and safety, to show tourists that Dubai takes its reputation seriously. The unofficial reason is pure spectacle. In a city where everything is designed to be the biggest, the fastest, or the most expensive, even law enforcement is a flex. Somewhere out there, a traffic cop is pulling someone over in a car worth more than most houses. That is Dubai in a single image. Fact number 3, the laws that catch every tourist off guard. Dubai's legal system operates differently from what most Western tourists expect, and it has caught more than a few visitors completely off guard. Public displays of affection can technically lead to fines or arrest. Swearing in public, including in text messages, has been prosecuted. Until recently, unmarried couples could not legally share a hotel room. Drinking alcohol is only permitted in licensed venues and for those over 21, with a zero-tolerance policy for any public intoxication. Even something as casual as a rude gesture in traffic can lead to legal consequences. The laws have relaxed significantly in recent years. Premarital relationships were formally decriminalized, alcohol regulations were loosened, and the weekend was restructured to align with the global standard. But the underlying legal framework still surprises people. Dubai sells itself as a playground, and it is, but it is a playground with rules that are very different from the ones most visitors are used to. The penalties are real. Enforcement is selective but unpredictable. And every year, a handful of tourists learn the hard way that what flies at home does not always fly here. 2 more to go, and each one is harder to believe. Fact number 2, the city that barely runs on oil. Everyone assumes Dubai is rich because of oil. That's the story the world tells itself. Desert Kingdom strikes black gold, builds towers of glass. Simple, except it's almost entirely wrong. Oil now accounts for less than 1% of Dubai's GDP. Less than 1%. The real money comes from trade, tourism, aviation, logistics, real estate, and financial services. Dubai figured out decades ago that its oil reserves were modest compared to Abu Dhabi's, and that the wells would eventually run dry. So it pivoted hard. It turned itself into a tax-free business hub, a global transit point, and a luxury tourism destination. It built the busiest international airport in the world. It created free trade zones to attract foreign companies. It became the middleman between East and West, and it made itself indispensable. The city that everyone thinks was built on oil was actually built on the decision to stop relying on oil before it ran out. That is not luck, that is strategy. And it is arguably the most impressive thing about Dubai, not the buildings, not the islands, but the bet they made 50 years ago that the future would not be underground. It would be above it. You are not ready for number one. Fact number one, from dirt roads to the future in a single lifetime. This is the fact that puts everything else into perspective. In the 1960s, Dubai was a small fishing and pearl diving village on the edge of a creek. Dirt roads, mud walls, goat herds. A photographer who moved there in 1965 arrived with less than $1 in his pocket and documented a town that looked like it belonged in another century. There were 13 registered cars in the entire emirate. The economy ran on pearls, fish, and small-time trade. Then oil was discovered in 1966, and everything changed. In the span of a single human lifetime, Dubai went from a dusty settlement where camels outnumbered cars to a metropolis with the tallest building on Earth, artificial islands visible from space, indoor ski slopes in the desert, and a police force driving Bugattis. There are people alive today who were born in that fishing village and who now live in one of the most futuristic cities on the planet. They've watched their home transform from sand and silence into glass and noise within their own memory. No other city in human history has undergone a transformation this dramatic, this fast. And there is something both extraordinary and unsettling about that. A city that did not exist a generation ago now competes with London, New York, and Tokyo for global relevance. A place that was empty desert within living memory now draws tens of millions of visitors a year. Dubai isn't just a city, it is a proof of concept for what happens when ambition has no ceiling and no patience. For better and for worse, it is the most extreme experiment in urban development the world has ever seen. That is the real Dubai nobody talks about. If this video changed the way you see Dubai, hit subscribe and drop a comment with the fact that shocked you the most.